Hi, boys and girls. So you just finished up with Chapter 1 in math, and now we're going to be moving on to Chapter 2. So what I need you to do before we begin our lesson on Chapter 2, which is represent and interpret data, I need you to go get a pencil and your Chapter 2 math book. So go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and get those two items. So I told you that Chapter 2 is about representing and interpreting data. And Lesson 2.1, which is what we're going to get started on today, is problem solving and organizing the data. So the first thing that we are going to look at is a vocabulary word. And our vocabulary word is called a tally table. A tally table. Now, you might have seen this before in second grade, maybe first grade. A tally table is a chart or a table that uses tally marks to record data. So if you look down at my tally table at the bottom, you see that I have an apple and I have a banana. And 2 people probably liked apples, and 5, 6, 7 people probably liked bananas. Now you can see this is a tally table, and these lines that look like number ones are tally marks. Now if you look at the 2 compared to this one right here, which is 5, you see something special about this tally table, these tally marks. Whenever you have a group of 5, the 5th one always comes over, and I say it forms a seatbelt that goes across your 4 other tally marks. That's something we'll talk about throughout this lesson, and you will continue to do throughout this entire chapter. When you make a group of tally marks into 5, if you get more, like 10, 15, 20, they're easier to count when they are in groups of 5. The other vocabulary word that we're going to be talking about today is a frequency table. Now you have to remember that whenever you hear the word frequency table, it means my table has to have numbers. It has to have numbers. So it is a chart or a table that uses numbers to record data. Now, if you look down here at my frequency table, you can see I had the same information that you just saw in my tally table. I have my apple. I have my banana. I had 2 people that chose apple, and I have 7 people that chose bananas. If you look side by side, boys and girls, it's the same information. The exact same information, just one is displayed in a tally table and the other one is displayed in a frequency table. A tally table uses tally marks. A frequency table uses numbers. So those are 2 vocabulary words that you're going to hear me talk about during today's lesson. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to go ahead and get your math books out and turn to page 87. You will also need your pencil. So go ahead and pause the video, get your math books out, turn to page 87, and you will also need a pencil. Okay, boys and girls, let's begin our lesson. So you should be on page 87, and let's look at the top. Let's look at unlock the problem. It says, the students in Alicia's class voted for their favorite yogurt flavor. They organized the data in this tally table. How many more students chose chocolate than strawberry? That's important. I want to know how many more. How many more is a clue word that tells me to do what? Subtract. So I'm going to put a minus here. Students chose chocolate than strawberry. So if you look over here, I have my tally table. you can see that I have my title, favorite yogurt flavor, and then I have my flavors on the left and my tallies on the right. So to look at this tally table and to be able to understand and read it, I have my first flavor, which is vanilla. If I go across, I see that there are 5, 6, 7 people that liked vanilla. I can go down to my chocolate, and I go across and I see that 5, 6, 7, 8 people like chocolate. And then I have strawberry, and I see that 1, 2, 3, 4 people liked strawberry. Now, I can interpret this data looking at the tally table, or there's another way to show the data, which is something I showed you the video before, which is your frequency table. So, your frequency table uses numbers to record the data. So we're going to take this information in my tally table, and we're going to come down here and read the problem and then solve the problem using and making it into a frequency table. Now from the question with what we underlined, it says how many more students chose chocolate than strawberry? So if I come down here to what do I need to find? Well, I need to find how many more students chose blank than blank yogurt as their favorite. Well, my information is right here, and I needed to know how many more students chose chocolate than strawberry. So that's the information that we're going to write on the lines. We're going to write chocolate than strawberry. I'm going to have to squeeze those words in there. Now it says, what information do I need to use? The data about favorite blank in the tally table. Well, what are we talking about? Look at your title, boys and girls. Favorite what? Oh, favorite yogurt. So we're writing about yogurt. And then how will I use this information? I will count the blank. Then I will put the numbers in a frequency table and compare the number of students who chose blank to the number of students who chose blank. Okay, so let's start at that beginning again. I will count well, in order to make our frequency table, we first have to be able to count our tally marks. So you're going to write the word tally marks on the line. So first we need to count the tally marks. Then we're going to put the numbers in a frequency table and compare the students who chose, you guessed it, chocolate to the number of students who chose strawberry. So you're going to write chocolate to the number of students who chose strawberry. So we just read the problem. We figured out the information that we needed. Now we need to be able to go and solve it. So here, if you go under solve the problem, we have a blank chart that was started for us. We have our main title, we have flavor, number. You see that it has changed from the above table. It is no longer a tally, it is now a number. Boys and girls, we're now making our tally table into a frequency table. But the first thing you need to do is make sure you have all of your information. Well, I'm missing my blanks for my flavor of yogurt. All you need to do, boys and girls, is look at the table above. Underneath vanilla comes chocolate. So you need to write chocolate. And our other flavor that we're missing is strawberry. So go ahead and write chocolate and strawberry on your data table. Now we need to fill in how many of each flavor did people like. If I go over to vanilla, I have to go back up to my tally table and count how many tallies do I have for vanilla. We know that this is a group of 5 because it has a seatbelt on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seatbelt is 5. So that's 5, 6, 7. So all I'm going to do, boys and girls, is write the number 7 next to vanilla. I go back up to chocolate. I know that this is a group of 5. I don't need to count those individual tally marks because when I see the seatbelt, I know that it's a group of 5. So I can say 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I have strawberry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and write those, boys and girls. Okay, so it says count the tally marks, record, well, we did 7 for vanilla. Write the other flavors and record the number of tally marks. We already did that, boys and girls. So let's go down. To compare the number of students who chose strawberry and the number of students who chose chocolate, subtract. Well, we knew that from up here when we read the words, how many more. Whenever you see the words, how many more, you should automatically be triggered to say or know that you have to subtract. When we subtract, you know that we always start with the biggest number. So if we're choosing chocolate and strawberry, chocolate is 8, minus strawberry is 4, and 8 minus 4 is 4. So 4 more students chose chocolate as their favorite flavor. Okay, so go on and turn to page 88. Let's look at another problem. It says 2 classes in Carter's school grew bean plants for a science project. The heights of the plants after 6 weeks are shown in the tally table. The plants were measured to the nearest inch. How many fewer bean plants were 9 inches tall than 7 inches and 8 inches combined? Okay, now boys and girls, this is going to be a 2-step problem. It's going to be a 2-step problem. So first, I need to look at what my question is asking. How many fewer? Well, if I see the word fewer, how many fewer, I know I'm going to need to subtract. So I'm going to write the word subtract over to the left. How many fewer bean plants were 9 inches tall than 7 inches and 8 inches combined? That's another clue word, boys and girls, the word combined. I told you after I read this, that it's a 2-step problem. Combined means to add. Well, what am I going to be adding? When I combine something, you have the word and. I have 7 inches and 8 inches combined. So, let's look at our tally table. Let's just study our tally table. In the question, it talked about bean plant heights. It said that it measured the bean plants in inches. That's why it says height in inches. I have 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then over here, I have my tally table. So let's go down here to read our problem. What do I need to find? Well, it said I needed to find how many fewer bean plants were 9 inches tall than 7 and 8 inches combined. Boys and girls, all you have to go to is this question. That's what you need to find, the question at the end of the problem. So what I need you to do is just write this question. How many fewer bean plants were 9 inches tall than 7 inches and 8 inches combined. So all you're doing is writing this information from the problem. This is the question we are trying to figure out. So all I did was take this information from the problem and write it right here. Now, it says, what information do I need to use? Well, the only way that I'm going to figure out this problem is to use the data that's in my tally table. So I'm going to write that. The data in the tally table tells me about the bean plant heights. So you're going to write the data in the tally table about, and what are we talking about? Right here, boys and girls. Bean plant heights. Okay, so now let's go down to the bottom. How will I use the information? Well, I'm going to have to count these tally tables. And for me, it's easier to break these tally tables and make it eventually into a frequency table. And then I'm going to have to add the number of 7-inch and 8-inch plants and compare them to the number of 9-inch plants. So I'm going to count the tally marks, put the data into the frequency table. That's what we're going to have to do first. We're going to change this tally table into a frequency table. So we're going to write that. I will count the tally marks and put the data into the frequency table. So that's my first step, changing this tally table into a frequency table. Then we're going to have to figure out how many of the 7 inches and the 8 inches were combined. So when I say combined, you already know that I wrote the word add. So we're going to have to add the number of 7-inch and 8-inch plants. So we're going to add the 7-inch and 8-inch plants and compare that sum to the number of 9-inch plants. All right, boys and girls, I know that was a lot to write. But I want you to be able to understand how we have to go through these steps in order to solve this problem, especially since it's a 2-step problem. So go ahead and continue to write. I'll give you one more minute. Okay, now let's go over here to solve the problem. You see that this is a blank table. Well, we know this lesson is about changing a tally table into a frequency table. But I need to make sure I have all of my information from my tally table. At the beginning of the lesson, I showed you the two vocabulary words. I showed you the tally table, tally marks, and the frequency table. And they both tables had the same information. So that's what we need to make sure we have. If we're talking about bean plant heights, whether it's a tally table or a frequency table, I have to make sure I have the same information. So you first need to start with your title. My title is Bean Plant Heights. We're going to write that right here. Bean Plant Heights. I have height in inches. You're going to have to squeeze that in, boys and girls. They don't give you much room. Height in inches. And here, we're not going to put tally because we're not going to make it into tally marks. That information is already here. If we're making it into a frequency table, I know that a frequency table has numbers. So you're going to write the word number. N-U-M-B-E-R. Okay. So now make sure when you copy your information, you go in the same way that they did. You don't want to mix these numbers up because that will just confuse you. So if it has 7 in height here, I'm going to write that in my first box. I have 8, then 9, then 10. Now I need to go over to my tally table and count my tallies. Here's a seatbelt, so I know this is automatically 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8. Go over to my 9, 5, 10, 11, 12. And then I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now let's solve it. I know from this information that I wrote down, I first need to add the 7-inch and the 8-inch plants together because I needed to find out how much those were combined. So I'm going to go to my 7-inch plants. I have a 9. And my 8-inch plants, I have an 8. So I'm going to write 9 plus 8. Well, what is 9 plus 8? Well, 9 plus 8 is 17. 17. I'm not finished because my question also says how many fewer bean plants were 9 inches tall than 7 inches and 8 inches combined. Well, I found my combined. Now I need to find how many fewer. So I got to take my answer, 17. Fewer means to subtract, and I need to go to my 12 equals. Now, I can't subtract sideways, so I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to stack it and subtract. 7 minus 2 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. You can put the 0 or you don't have to. It's up to you. So my answer is 5. So boys and girls, you just did a 2-step problem. Good job. Okay, let's continue at the bottom. It says, suppose the number of 3-inch plants was half the number of 8-inch plants. How many 3-inch bean plants were there? Well, let's look at our chart. You can either look at your frequency chart or you can look at your tally chart or tally table. I don't have any plants that are 3 inches, but it did give me information on how I can figure out how many there were. It says the number of 3-inch plants were half the number of 8-inch plants. Well, how many were 8-inch plants? I'm going to go to my 8. Well, they were 8. So what is half of 8? What is half of 8? How could I figure that out? What is half of 8? I could do tally or dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is an even number. So that means everyone will have a partner. So let's look. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Half of 8, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in this group, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in this group. So half of 8 is 4. So you will have 4 3-inch bean plants. You will have 4 3-inch bean plants. Okay, let's go on and look at page 89. I know this is a lot of information, boys and girls, but we are going to be using this throughout our entire chapter, so I really need to make sure you understand what we're doing. All right, boys and girls, now we're on page 89. So go to page 89. We have a few more problems, and then you can try some on your own. So it says use the shoe lengths table for 1 through 3. The students in 3 third-grade classes recorded the lengths of their shoes to the nearest centimeter. The data are in the tally table. How many more shoes were 18 or 22 centimeters long combined than 20 centimeters long? Excuse me. So it says, how many more? I know that tells me to subtract. How many more were 18 or 22 centimeters long combined? The word combined tells me to add. Than 20 centimeters long. So the first thing we're going to do is count the tally marks and record the data into a frequency table. Boys and girls, I always suggest whenever you have a tally table, change it into a frequency table. It will be much easier to do your problems. So here you can see shoe lengths, length in centimeters, and I have the same information. I have the number because we're making it into a frequency table, and I have boys and girls. So we're going to go up to 18. I have 5, 6 boys, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 girls. I have 5 next to 19 for boys, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for girls. Then I look at 20. I have 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for girls. Then I go to 21, 5, 6, 7 for boys, and just 5 for girls. And then 22, I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for boys, and 5, 6, 7 for girls. So now I just changed my tally table into a frequency table. So let's go back over to the left. It says to find the number of shoes that were 18 or 22 centimeters long, we need to add. We need to add because of this word combined. I have 18 or 22 centimeters long combined. Boys and girls, that means we have to look at both boys and girls. They started it out for us. You see a 6. Well, I first have to look at the 18. So I'm going to add 6 plus how many girls had the length of 18? 4. So we're going to put a 4 here. Now I need to find who had 22. Their shoe length was 22 centimeters. So I'm going to go down to my 22. For my boys, I had 9 boys had the length of 22. And I had 7 girls had the length of 22. Now I need to stack and add. I always like to stack and add. So I have 6 plus 4 plus 9 and 7. You really don't need all these plus signs. Just need one. Okay, now you learned from chapter 1 how to stack these numbers and add them. And we learned from the associative property that I can combine numbers to make it easier. And we always see if we can make a 10. Well, we can make a 10. 6 and 4 is 10. And I know that 9 and 7 is 16. So now I'm adding 10 plus 16. 0 plus 6 is 6, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So you know I have 26. Now we're not finished because this is a two-step problem. We didn't answer everything that they wanted us to know. It says how many more shoes were 18 or 22 centimeters long combined than 20 centimeters. Okay, so I need to find out about the 20 centimeters. So go over to your 20 centimeters. I have 8 for boys, and I have 9 for girls. I know that 8 plus 9 is, great job, 17. Now we need to find the difference between the shoes that were 18 and 22 centimeters, which we did, and the shoes that were 20 centimeters long. So I need to subtract. So I need to take 26 minus 17. Again, boys and girls, we cannot subtract sideways. So you need to come over here and stack it and subtract it. Now, you always start in the ones column. I have 6 minus 7. I cannot take 6 from 7. I can't do it. It's impossible. So you have to go over to your next door neighbor and borrow one. My 2 becomes a 1, and my 6 becomes a 16. Now I can start subtracting. 16 minus 7 is, good job, 9. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So my answer is 9. So 9 more shoes were 18 or 22 centimeters long than they were 20 centimeters long. Good job. Lots of information there. If you take it step by step and think about what the question is asking you, it will be a lot easier. Let's go on to question 2. It says, how many fewer boys' shoes were 19 centimeters long than 22 centimeters long? Now, it's asking for how many fewer. Fewer tells me I need to subtract. Boys and girls, if you can figure out these clue words and these story problems, it will be a lot easier to solve. So when you see the word fewer, you know that you need to subtract. And we're only looking at the boys. I don't even care about the girls right now. So we need to find 19 and 22 for boys. So I have 5 for 19 length, and I had 9 boys for 22 length. So I need to subtract 9 minus 5, because you always do the biggest number first when you subtract. And 9 minus 5 is 4. 4. Okay, let's look down here. I know it says on your own, but we're actually going to do it together. Okay? We're going to do it together. It says, what if the length of 5 more boys' shoes measured 21 centimeters? 5 more tells me I need to add. I only care about the boys' shoes right now, and I'm looking at 21 centimeters. So if I go over to 21 centimeters, I know that there are 7 boys that have shoe lengths of 21 centimeters. So I know I have 7 boys already that have the shoe length of 21 centimeters. So they want to add 5 more. So I need to add 7 plus 5. Well, what is 7 plus 5? 12. It's 12. It says explain how the table will change. Well, the number for 21 centimeters for boys would change from 7 to 12. If we're adding 5 more, the table for 21 centimeters, sorry if you can't see this, would change from 7 to 12. Because we just added 5 more. All right, moving on. Let's look at page 90. Let's look at page 90. All right, boys and girls, what do we have here? Can you remember? Do you remember what the name of this table is called? If you guessed frequency table, you are correct. Because we know that a frequency table has, you guessed it, numbers. It has numbers. Okay, let's look to see what they're asking us. It says Raja asked his classmates to choose their favorite outdoor game. His results are shown in the frequency table at the right. How many more students chose hide and seek than the scavenger hunt? Well, my question says, how many more? Boys and girls, those are clue words. To do what? You guessed it, subtract. We're going to subtract. I'm going to subtract hide and seek than the scavenger hunt. So I have to go over to my frequency table, and I'm only looking at hide and seek, match the words, hide and seek, hide and seek. Scavenger hunt, scavenger hunt. Those are the only 2 I care about right now. And I know how many more means to subtract. So I need to subtract 14 minus 6. Boys and girls, what is 14 minus 6? You guessed it, 8. So 8 more students chose hide and seek than scavenger hunt. How many students in all chose tag jump rope, or hide and seek. So clue words, how many, and in all means to do what? What do you think? Add or subtract? If you chose add, you were correct. So I need to add tag, which is 16, plus jump rope, which is 9, plus hide and seek, which is 14. Again, boys and girls, I cannot add it going sideways. I have to stack it and add. Make sure all of your numbers are lined up. Okay, can I make a 10? I sure can. 6 and 4 is 10, and 10 plus 9 is 19. Carry the 1 over to your tens place, and you drop your 9. Now I have 1, 2, 3, and I have a total of 39 students. All right, we are going to skip number 6, and let's look at the bottom number 7. It says, Jade made this tally table to record how many students have different types of pets. Here I have my tally table, and it's about students' pets. I have the type of pet. We have dog, rabbit, hamster, and cat, and then I have my tally marks. It says for numbers 7A through 7D, select true or false for each statement. Okay. It says 9 fewer students have hamsters than dogs. We need to know, is that true or is that false? Well, we have to go dig deeper. Let's look. I'm looking at fewer, means to subtract. And I have hamsters, and I have dogs. So let's see. Boy, those tally marks are kind of hard to read, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this into a frequency table, so it's easier to solve. Well, I know I have dogs, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Boys and girls, I don't have to make a whole nother table. I can just put my number over here on the side, 14. And then I have 1, 2, 3 for rabbit. I have 5 for hamster. And I have 7 for cat. I suggest anytime you see a tally table, you automatically make it into a frequency table. It will be much easier for you to answer these questions. I have hamsters. And I have dogs. So I know I'm going to subtract. So if you could subtract 14 minus 5. What is 14 minus 5? Did you figure it out? 9. So 9 fewer students have hamsters than dogs. Is that true? Is that a true statement? It sure is. So you're going to make true. 7B says 7 students have cats. Well, go over to cats. How many do they have? 7. Is that true? Yes, it is. Fewer students have cats than hamsters. So they're saying fewer students have cats than hamsters. Well, there's 5 students that have hamsters, and there's 7 students that have cats. So is that a true or false statement? That's false, boys and girls, because fewer students have hamsters. There are more students that have cats. And 7D says more students have dogs than all other animals combined. Oh goodness, what does that mean? Well, I know that there are 14 students that have dogs. So I'm just going to write dogs equals 14. Now, They want to know more, they think more students have dogs than all the other animals combined. Boys and girls, the word combined is a clue word that tells you to add. So I need to add all these other pets. All these other pets. I have a rabbit, has 3, a hamster is 5, and a cat is 7. I need to add all of those up. 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. So boys and girls, you tell me, do more students have dogs than all the other animals? Is that a true or false statement? If you chose false, you are correct. Now, I know that's a lot of information, but this information that we did today during our lesson is going to be very important for the rest of the chapter. There's one more thing that I want to talk about that they actually did not talk about in this lesson today. And that question is, sometimes throughout this chapter, you might have the question, how many students or how many people were surveyed? Boys and girls, when we have charts like the tally table and the frequency table, people are surveyed, people are asked, okay? That's how we get information. It might not always be people are asked, just like in our shoes, we measured, okay? Or the bean plants were measured. But if it says how many people were surveyed, all that means is that you need to add all the numbers up together. So if it says how many people were surveyed, you might need to add all the numbers up together. Just a quick little note. We'll learn that in another lesson, but just in case you hear that, you'll already be one step ahead. Okay, so now what you are going to do, you've completed this entire lesson with me and you did a fantastic job. So now you are going to go ahead and you are going to complete the assessment. If you need to rewatch this video, rewatch the video to help you. Okay? If not, go ahead and complete the assessment. Great job today, boys and girls. I know it was a lot of information, but I know that you can do it.